Okay, so this is the last record we're going to talk about, and this is a debut EP from Liverpool post-punk band Yammerer. At least I've heard them described as a post-punk band. The EP is called Reality Escape Report, and it's due to be released on the 22nd of November 2019. So the band have got a strange name. I looked up what Yammerer means, and it is one who complains or whines peevishly. So yeah,
I suppose that makes sense.
That might go some way into
yammer on.
Yeah, that might go some way into explaining the band's kind of sound.
I was going to say their overall aesthetic.
Yeah.
Because sorry if I'm interrupting here, Snedds, but I don't know if I would describe them as post-punk. I don't know if they're maybe a bit more it's more like maybe prog rock, progressive type stuff. I only listened to the two songs from the EP, Airport and Seasons 13 to 31. Is that right in saying?
Yes.
So I found Airport difficult to get my kind of teeth into. I found that it was quite difficult to kind of hook into, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It almost felt like a jam session. However, there was interesting aesthetics in there. There was kind of interesting kind of guitar riffs and sounds and what have you. But I wouldn't necessarily say it sounds like your kind of average post-punk band. I would say it's more kind of prog rock or experimental alternative type stuff.
It's definitely experimental.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got like weird sort of bouncing, like twirling even sort of guitar riffs, like and the sort of stabbing guitars, and like the singer just sort of howls away, and I mean I found it difficult to pick out some of the lyrics, and I imagine they're fairly nonsensical anyway, but I don't mind that. Like I said earlier, that often, despite having picked out tons of lyrics in this episode, I'm not really a lyrics guy. But I actually found some of the vocal delivery to have some similarities with Viagra Boys. I think that kind of like, it's like, that howled kind of delivery that's on a lot of those Viagra Boys songs is definitely here. I think Viagra Boys have more of a knack for clearly delivering a story.
Yeah.
But I like that kind of manic, chaotic vocal delivery, and in fact the musicianship. I like that madness, and I think it's a good. Airport is certainly a good song to just kind of dance around like a maniac to. I like that it's very different to a lot of things that I've heard. I mean, ever, to be fair. There's not much that sounds like this, I don't think.
It's interesting you make the comparison between Viagra Boys, because I thought certainly more so with the second song that I listened to, Seasons 13 to 31, I thought the kind of singer initially sounded a bit like Idols.
Yeah, okay.
We kind of mentioned them already. And I found that the more accessible track out of the two that I listened to.
It's certainly more straightforward musically, and actually it's got sort of like that sort of gritty, chunky bass line that drives the song along, and the drum beat. That's got similarities with Viagra Boys as well. There's a lot of that on Streetworms, so I quite enjoyed that. And there is a sort of, I think there's probably a story in here somewhere, but I couldn't really pick it out. And it's worth saying the season 13 to 31 is 9 minutes long.
It's over 9 minutes.
Is it over 9 minutes?
I think it's 9. Is it 9:14 or 9:15, something like that? Let me have a
Yeah. So it's over 9 minutes long. That's all you need to know, really, isn't it?
9:14.
So it's 9 minutes and 14 seconds, and the 14 seconds make the difference. But I like that. I like the sort of driving drum beat, and there's some weird electronics on there. There's a cool bass line.
It's an interesting, almost oriental guitar riff.
There is. I said there's an Arabian Nights synth.
Maybe it is synth.
I don't know if it's synth or not, but then there's like the opening lines are, "I bet you smell like a particularly beautiful flower, says Hades to Persephone." So that feels like it's going to start a story.
Yes.
But then I really struggled to pick out what that story was and much of the other lyrics. One of the bits I picked out just because I thought it was funny was, "I'm up to my nuts in the feeling of guilt."
Yeah. Aye.
Which I think is a pretty
well.
classic line. And that sort of bass groove and beat, it doesn't really let up for 9 minutes, and there's sort of weird things that punctuate it. There's some sort of synth laser blasts, and there's the ending is a bit like Jeff Wayne's War of the Worlds, like sort of alien synth sound, and I think it's quite like it's a long track, but I think it's a really epic way to end an EP. But I can imagine there'll be some people who'll just like give up on it, because listening to one track for 9 minutes can be a slog.
How long's the airport? Just
a few minutes.
Because there was times where I thought I was listening to multiple songs.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe 4 minutes, something like that, which it's average.
Yeah.
Song length, maybe.
I think because there was such a variation in kind of riffs and what have you. Yeah, there was times where I thought I'd listened to a couple of songs by the time the actual track had came to an end.
Yeah, I quite enjoy that. That it just it tries a lot of different things.
Yeah.
Within the same song. Certainly in Airport, I think Seasons 30 to 31 is it doesn't stray too far from that same style and sound for the entire track, so I can understand why that would put some people off, but I think there's enough subtle noises and sounds and sort of weird vocal parts in there to keep you interested if you're willing to stick it out. So there's two middle songs, the songs that you haven't heard, and these are actually both singles, previously released singles, so I'd heard them before, and they're both on the monthly playlists. I can't tell you which month, and I could have gone back and checked, but it doesn't really matter. The fact I liked them enough to put them on a sort of a playlist celebrating the months, my favourite music of the month. So you've got Poisonous, Reptilian, Colleagues and Company, which sort of chaotic and raucous. It's got a sort of a slightly out of tune sounding guitar lick, that kind of a sort of twirling guitar song that punctuates the song throughout, and it's got, again, there's some kind of story in here, but I find it difficult to pick out. Some of the lyrics are talking about poisonous reptile colleague, please die of an illness never been seen. So there's someone, it's a song about hating your colleagues, I don't know, but it's an interesting song, and there's a sort of spacious breakdown, the 2 minute mark, with some like far away sounding vocals and like a dirge of electronic noises, and then after that it sort of kicks back into that original guitar lick that opens the song, and that's how it closes out. So it's quite a fun track. Yeah, I quite like it a lot. And then there's Wives Head, which is spelled Yves head. So if that's Welsh or what, but apparently it's pronounced Wife's Head. And it's just got like a really jaunty guitar lick, and like which just, the song itself just breathes nonsense and chaos, and there's these like mental spurts of guitar or electronics or something. I'm not sure if it's guitar or electronics, but it's sort of weird burst of sound. And again, I have absolutely no idea what the song's about, and there's this repeated scream of Wife's Head, which you can join in and sing along with that, but I couldn't really follow if there was a story or what was going on, but it was a lot of fun. Like I find these songs fun to listen to, whether I really understand what's going on or not.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of sort of invention, and the songs are inventive and they're unique, and they're not forgettable. I think once you've heard these songs, you're not necessarily going to forget them, but they're certainly not going to be for everyone. I think a lot of people might find it a bit too chaotic, a bit too bizarre, maybe.
Yeah.
But I certainly think that these songs were a lot of fun. But I think you should.
I'll go back.
I think it's worth listening to those two songs in the middle, so you get a kind of feel for the overall sound. But to be fair, Airport and Poisonous Reptilian Colleagues and Company and Wife's Head are more similar. Like they don't sound exactly the same, but they've got that sort of style to them. Whereas seasons 13 to 31 is a little bit different, and it's not as like immediately chaotic as those songs are. It sort of spreads the chaos out over a long running time. But I think it's definitely worth a listen. I think a lot of people will get something out of this. So yeah,
give it a look.
Give it a bash.
Yeah.
I will. Well, if you haven't listened to that thing, so you can't rate it. But I'm going to give this a strong 7, I think.
Right. Okay.
Because I do quite like a lot of this. It maybe took me a little bit of time to kind of, I was going to say wrap my head around it, but I still don't think I have wrapped my head around it, to be honest. It's more let it wrap itself around me, sort of get its claws into me.
Expose yourself to it.
Yeah. So I think a strong 7, and I think they're a band worth watching to see what sort of thing they come up with next.
Would you make a comparison with them to the Black Midi album that we listened to several weeks ago? Granted, we only listened to the opening track of the Black Midi album. However, it's still got that, I can't remember the name of the opening track of the Black Midi album, but I think it maybe was released as one of the singles. And it has that kind of experimental, almost like it sounds like a jam, it sounds like a band jamming. Would you say the same's true of Yammerer?
I think some of this sounds a bit jam-ish, but I think that Black Midi album is, I don't know, like I can this is much like, despite this being weird and bizarre and out there, it's much more immediate than Black Midi,
right,
as far as what I've listened to.
Yeah.
And listening to this made me want to go back to it. Listening to Black Midi didn't make me want to go back to it, and I might go back to it to try and understand what the kind of excitement around that band is, but these are more like songs than Black Midi.
Okay.
Black Midi sounds like a just nonsense jam, and it's boring. Like, I found it boring.
I can sink my teeth into it. I remember we maybe listened to we listened to the first 2 or 3 songs. I remember, I think there was a song called Ska on that album, and it had a significant That's the word I'm looking for. There was nothing ska about it, basically.
yeah, there was something like that. I would say...
False advertising.
Yeah, I would say if you want to listen to something that's weird and interesting and a bit different...
That you'll maybe go back to.
They'll maybe go back to, then give Yammerer a go and just forget about Black Midi, unless you're into bizarre, proggy, impossible to listen to. I think we've gone off a bit of a tangent here, but there are weird bands out there, some of them good, some of them bad, and I think this is one of the good ones, and I think they're worth keeping an eye on. I don't really want to bash Black Midi. Too much. Without having given them a proper chance.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because there's a lot of buzz over that band, but I think there should be buzz about bands like this that are more cohesive.
Right. Okay.
I would say. So, if that sounds like your bag, then give Yammerer's debut EP Reality Escape Report a chance. It's out on the 22nd of November.
And will that be released on Spotify?
Yeah, it will.
Good.
I think the band don't have like a social media presence, so they're not on Facebook or Twitter or whatever, but they will be on Spotify and physical releases. So we can always revisit it. Or just get your thoughts on those other two tracks.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. I'll look into it.
Worth seeing what you think about them. Okay.